Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves. What I'm about to reveal is not fiction, not some political thriller, but a reality unfolding at a pace that is simply breathtaking. Imagine waking up tomorrow to discover that a wealthy Canadian province might be on the brink of breaking away from its own nation, and that the United States is not just observing, but actively positioning itself to support this unprecedented move with a staggering $500 billion. Yes, $500 billion. I'm Sajid Khan, and in all my years analyzing political maneuvers, constitutional law, and the hidden currents that shape nations, I have never encountered anything quite like this. Alberta, a province rich in oil reserves and economic potential, has long voiced its frustrations with the Canadian federal government. Billions of dollars flow from Alberta to Ottawa each year, far more than what the province receives in return, and over decades this imbalance has fueled a sense of economic injustice. Pipelines have been delayed, regulatory hurdles imposed, and Alberta's natural wealth has often been constrained by federal decisions perceived as favoring Eastern Canada. Enter the Alberta Prosperity Project, an organization advocating for Alberta's independence. Reports indicate that this movement has already conducted 3 meetings with senior officials from the Trump administration inside some of the most secure facilities in the United States government, the Sensitive Compartmental Information Facilities, or SIFs. These are rooms where classified national security discussions take place, and the information shared there is briefed directly to the president himself. The implications are staggering. At the heart of these discussions lies a proposed $500 billion line of credit, collateralized by Alberta's oil and gas reserves, designed to immediately empower an independent Alberta with the financial tools to withstand any pressure from Ottawa. This is not hypothetical support. This is a concrete, meticulously structured economic lifeline. Alongside this, pension guarantees have been outlined, converting Alberta pensions from Canadian to American dollars at par, ensuring financial security for citizens considering the leap into independence. Pipelines would be routed through American states like Idaho, Montana, Washington, and Oregon, giving Alberta direct access to Pacific markets and bypassing Canadian regulatory obstacles entirely. Think about the strategic calculus here. Alberta's oil, locked within the boundaries of a federal Canada, would suddenly be unleashed onto the global market under a new U.S.-aligned regime. American energy interests gain unprecedented access to the world's 3rd largest oil reserves. The movement's leaders even invoke the Monroe Doctrine, framing this not merely as a provincial secession, but as a critical geopolitical move to counter China's influence in the Pacific. Alberta in this narrative becomes not just an independent province, but a linchpin in the great power competition between the United States and China. Financially, politically, and strategically, the groundwork being laid is astonishing. The proposed $500 billion credit facility would trigger immediately after a successful referendum, allowing Alberta to negotiate with Ottawa from a position of strength. Traditionally, Canada's primary leverage over any separatist movement is economic, cutting off federal transfers, restricting trade access, and imposing financial pressure. But with the full faith and backing of the United States Treasury, Alberta could effectively neutralize all such leverage. The pension conversion plan is equally significant. Retirement security is one of the most powerful assurances a government can provide. By offering to convert pensions at par into U.S. dollars, the American administration ensures that citizens would not have to fear economic uncertainty in a nascent independent Alberta. Every ordinary Albertan considering independence would know that their life savings and future security are underwritten by the most powerful economy on earth. And then there's the pipeline, the artery that would make Alberta's independence viable. The province sits atop enormous oil reserves, but until now, its exports have been constrained. An independent Alberta, aligned with the United States, could route pipelines directly to the Pacific, reaching Asian markets like Japan and South Korea, reducing dependency on Middle Eastern oil and shifting regional energy dynamics. All of this points to a careful, deliberate strategy, ensuring that Alberta could break away economically and strategically almost seamlessly with the appearance of legitimacy and democratic choice while fundamentally altering the North American balance of power. The combination of financial power fire, energy access, and strategic positioning creates a situation unprecedented in modern history. Albertans' grievances with Ottawa are real. Decades of net contributions, blocked pipelines, and federal policies perceived as punitive have fueled legitimate frustrations. But the United States' involvement introduces a new, profoundly destabilizing dimension. A foreign power actively participating in a domestic movement to fragment an allied nation raises questions about sovereignty, loyalty, and international norms. If this movement continues to gain momentum, Alberta could see an intensification of political campaigning, with leaders pointing to American financial and strategic backing as reassurance that independence would not result in economic catastrophe. Every promise, the credit line, the pension guarantees, the pipelines, is designed to make the prospect of secession tangible, achievable, and shielded from the consequences that typically accompany such a drastic political move.
As we continue, it's essential to examine the legal and constitutional framework that could shape Alberta's path to independence. Canada's Clarity Act, passed in 2000, provides a clear yet complex legal mechanism for provincial secession. It emerged from the near-successful 1995 Quebec referendum and established that if a province holds a clear referendum with an unambiguous question and secures a clear majority in favor of independence, the federal government is legally obligated to negotiate the terms of separation. While no unilateral secession is allowed under Canadian or international law, the Clarity Act creates a pathway for democratic expression, making peaceful independence a theoretical possibility. The Alberta Prosperity Project is clearly leveraging this legal avenue to present independence not as a radical overthrow, but as a legitimate democratic process. Albertans are being told that they can exercise their rights through ballots, not arms, and that the outcome would be respected internationally if it meets the criteria of clarity and majority. However, the path is fraught with complexity. Negotiations over federal assets, debts, territorial boundaries, Indigenous treaties, citizenship, and minority rights would all need resolution. There is no guarantee that Ottawa and an independent Alberta could reach agreement on these critical matters. Beyond the domestic legal framework, the involvement of the United States complicates matters profoundly. The same nation that frequently condemns foreign interference in its own democratic elections is now allegedly providing material support to a movement aimed at breaking up a close ally. Financial inducements, pipeline commitments, and pension guarantees create conditions under which Alberta's democratic choice could be influenced not solely by its citizens, but by external strategic calculations. The question arises, whose interests are truly being served? Are these moves genuinely about Alberta's self-determination, or about securing American access to oil reserves, energy markets, and geopolitical leverage in the Pacific? The Monroe Doctrine rhetoric invoked by leaders of the movement signals a broader strategic objective. It frames Alberta's independence not just as a local political decision, but as a matter of hemispheric control, positioning the United States as the protector of resources and influence in North America while countering China's rising presence in global energy markets. This is a profound reframing, turning what might have been a provincial economic debate into a frontline in great power competition. Consider the timing. Reports indicate that a referendum could be scheduled as soon as 2026. The groundwork, in case meetings and financial plans are accurate, is already being laid. This is not a distant theoretical scenario. It is potentially less than 2 years away from becoming reality. The Alberta Prosperity Project is mobilizing public opinion, emphasizing economic viability and strategic backing to maximize the chance of a successful vote. Every detail, the credit line, the pipeline routes, the pension guarantees, is calculated to ensure that voters perceive independence as achievable, secure, and beneficial. Yet, despite these plans, enormous uncertainties remain. Will the federal government negotiate in good faith? How will international allies respond? What about Canadian unity and the broader implications for global geopolitics? Even with financial support from the United States, the political, social, and economic consequences of a unilateral provincial secession are immense. This could redefine the U.S.-Canada relationship, destabilize trade agreements, and trigger ripple effects across global energy markets. Ultimately, what we are witnessing is the convergence of domestic frustration, legal opportunity, foreign strategic interest, and economic empowerment. Alberta's independence movement, armed with unprecedented U.S. backing, could alter the trajectory of North America, but it also raises profound ethical and political questions. Should a foreign power actively shape the democratic outcomes of a neighboring country? Can Alberta citizens make a fully autonomous decision when $500 billion in strategic promises hang in the balance? And what does this mean for the integrity of alliances that have endured for generations? As we stand on the precipice of this extraordinary political experiment, it is impossible to ignore the stakes. The choices made by Alberta, Ottawa, and Washington in the coming months could reshape borders, economies, and alliances in ways few could have imagined just a decade ago. One thing is certain, history is being written in real time, and every Albertan, every Canadian, and every observer of global politics must watch closely, because the outcome will reverberate far beyond provincial or national boundaries. In the end, Alberta's potential path to independence is more than a regional dispute. It is a litmus test for democracy, sovereignty, and strategic power in the 21st century. How this unfolds will be remembered as either a bold exercise in self-determination or a cautionary tale of foreign influence and geopolitical maneuvering.